Now, thanks to our Samsung School Board, we welcome Matt Miller, lead NFL draft writer for Bleacher Report, to the show. This year's NFL draft didn't have the superstar power at the front like you had last year with Andrew Luck or RG3. But tell us, Matt, which NFL team improved the most from the 2013 draft?
You know, guys, it's easy to look at the Minnesota Vikings with 3 first-round picks, getting guys like Sharif Floyd, Xavier Rhodes, Cordero Patterson. I think the Vikings really came away a much better team with guys who can be instant impacts, a team that added a lot of depth in guys for the future, though. The San Francisco 49ers, they turned 13 picks into a lot of young guys who they can play right away, who they can stash for a year, and the rich just get richer as the Niners got a lot better this year's draft.
Oh, tell me about it, Matt. Now, I appreciate you protecting Danny's feelings. We all know the real winner of the draft was Team SEC. But let's stay right there and look forward to next year's draft. Do you see any scenario, barring injury, where Jadeveon Clowney isn't the #1 pick?
You know, he should be, guys. This is an unprecedented talent on the defensive side. I think it's easy to say this, but he's the defensive version of Andrew Luck. You know, someone who, the clear-cut #1 prospect. I think it would be a shock if he's not the #1 overall pick. Maybe that means someone trades up. But I mean, he's far and away the best player in college football heading into next year. And like you said, barring injury, he's going to be a very high pick in 2014.
Matt, I love talking quarterbacks. Tell me who you have as the top prospect coming out for next year's draft.
But good news, Danny, a lot of great quarterbacks in next year's draft. But I like Teddy Bridgewater from Louisville. If you saw him in the bowl game against Florida, very good player. He can throw the ball down the field, very fluid, athletic. Teddy Bridgewater probably would have been the #1 quarterback in this year's class ahead of your guy, E.J. Manuel.
Okay, well, we talked about it early in the show, and everybody really is talking about A.J. McCarron and Johnny Manziel, not talking about Teddy Bridgewater. I wonder what that is. But let's keep it on Manziel and McCarron. Which of these two do you think is the better pro prospect?
That's really tough, guys. I think Johnny Manziel has the edge right now because there's a little bit of an unknown factor with him. You know, a great athlete, a little bit undersized, but they both need to have good years. I think Johnny Manziel needs to show that he's a consistent NFL-style passer, being able to get the ball downfield. And for McCarron, he has to show that he's just not a system quarterback, that he can do things on his own and make plays, kind of take over games. But if I had to pick right now, I'd take Johnny Football.
Matt, the college game is going to a lot of passing attacks. Who do you see as the best wide receivers coming out?
Well, wide receivers loaded next year as well, guys. And Marquise Lee from USC is going to be the top guy, just a playmaker, a Julio Jones level prospect. But I really like Sammy Watkins coming out of Clemson as well. That's a pretty loaded school right now with Taj Boyd at quarterback, Sammy Watkins at receiver. Clemson's offense should be pretty exciting.
ACC, baby.
Yeah. All right, well, you know what, Matt? Let's talk about the running backs. Who do you see as the top running back prospect in 2014 that some team's going to jump up and grab in the 5th round?
Yeah, you know, there's a decent amount of talent next year. So far, not looking like this year's class, but I like Kadeem Carey from Arizona. I think he's going to have the pressure of the team on his back. They're changing quarterbacks again for the 2nd straight year. Matt Scott now in the NFL. So I think Carey is going to have a lot of pressure on his back, and I think he's going to respond with a big year.
Matt, the trend lately has been for running backs in college to fall in the NFL draft, no matter how big a name they were, how many stats they put up in college. Why does the NFL seem to be taking this stance lately?
Well, I think when you have guys like Arian Foster and Alfred Morris doing what they're doing, you know, having such great years and long careers, I think it's easier right now to find running backs outside of the 1st round. You know, we saw this year, first time in 49 years, a back didn't go in the 1st round. So more teams are taking the approach of waiting and getting guys of value, or even being like Green Bay, getting 2 guys, Eddie Lacy and Jonathan Franklin, and knowing that they're going to be low-cost options and that you have kind of a bundle of guys that you can go to.
Hey, Matt, before you go, I got a quick buzzer beater for you. Worst pick in this year's draft. Go.
That's a lot of pressure. Travis Frederick, the Cowboys drafted a 3rd-round center in the 1st round. So Dallas does it again, man. Not a great one from Jerry Jones.
Matt Miller at BleacherReport.com. Hail to those Reds.
360 days till next year's draft. You are watching Unite, ESPN's first late-night show. Watch us every weeknight at midnight on ESPNU. You can hit us up on Twitter at Unite and like us on Facebook, too.